Shalom Akim, Yahbashim Shai Barakatam, Bashim Kakadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Great Restoring the Well. This is Brahmana DC Camp Charlotte and for the hopeful elect. So this conflict over there in the Middle East, it's just the beginning of sorrows. Alright, and you watch the videos of the folks in India screaming and yelling for lack of fuel. The Philippines is experiencing a shortage. The public transit system has basically come to a serious slowdown. And hey, the Lord has to reveal, what countries have a heavy dependency on oil imports. All right. So this clip, basically from the invasion of Iraq and all that stuff, so you could tell it's an old video, and it's just to remind you that, hey, the same energy that was there back then has basically faded away, man. All that hoorah patriotism vibe has evaporated, man. Because the truth, the truth has been revealed, and it's gonna be a tough sell this time around. All right. So I'm gonna read from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 21. Ezekiel chapter 21 and verse 7. And it shall be when they say, when they say unto thee, wherefore sightest thou that thou shalt answer? For the tidings, because it cometh, and every heart shall melt, and all hands shall be feeble, and every spirit shall faint. All knees shall be weak as water. Behold, it cometh, and shall be brought to pass, saith the Lord. So this is the chaos, that we should be looking forward to seeing, man. When the Lord starts to shake the kingdom of man, all right, it's gonna be a lot of pain. All right, so I played a clip. You're gonna see the former President Bush, trying to sell the agenda that they've accomplished, whatever they accomplished.
Any outlaw regime that has ties to terrorist groups and seeks or possesses weapons of mass destruction is a grave danger to the civilized world and will be confronted.
Yeah, so the confrontation is happening now. So what do you expect these military service members, to respond with? All right. So now we have all this dissent gaining momentum. You have all this malfunction and all these floating vessels, all these navy ships. The chatter is getting high. Because these soldiers, man, they've seen the BS, man, and they think that the war would not happen, in their lifetime. So now the Lord has given them a front row seat, to the theater of war. So now they have to, deal with the consequences of being on the front lines, all right? So whether they're going to go ahead with the invasion or not, it doesn't really change the calculus on the battlefield that the Most High has put in place. America is basically on its way out, and basically being exposed. The exposure is just happening in all phases. And when you see that these military contractors and not defense contractors are not churning out enough weapons like they need to, it shows you that something is going on in the background. I guess they don't want these soldiers to win the battle. They want them to be underprepared, you know, lack of supplies and all that stuff. So they've already made a choice, when they get the word from the elites that, nope, you gotta have to slow down your supply of weapons to the military, so they could have America's military decimated over there. Hey, that's a possibility. Why go to battle when you don't have all the ammunition you need? So that's one card the elites can always play, just to have a massive slaughter of the troops over there, because they want things to go according to plan. So what are they going to do? They have to pull the rug from underneath their feet. Just like what happened in Iraq, man. You had our family members had to buy supplies for their loved ones out there on the battlefield.
We've begun the search for hidden chemical and biological weapons and already know of hundreds of sites that will be investigated. Nice, you like it? Yeah, fantastic. The transition.
Yeah, so all the photo up from back then, was all about hoorah, 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 but now the hoorah spirit is no longer there, man. It's basically the screeching of a mouse, man, caught in a trap. So it's going to be painful, for the service members over there, man, because, they've been led to their slaughter. And that's just the journey that the Most High have slated for them. So the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, I'm going to read verse 11. It's saying, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. Yes, when you look at all these nations as being weak, look at them as just useless, just occupying space. They're just blocking us from tapping into our natural resources. Like, we got to move them out of there. They're just like brumbles, what you call the tumbleweeds, man. That's how the elite look at these people, as useless eaters. So you put the people as feeble. Now the soldiers are feeble. So now we have a situation where the weak are saying that they are strong, and the United States soldiers don't want to get down with these dirty tactics of this empire. So it's gonna be a showdown over there, man. There's gonna be a lot of sabotage. All right. So I'm gonna read from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and 43. It says, the king of Babylon had heard the report of them, and his hands waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him, and pangs as of a woman in travail. So the same elites, looking at these people as being feeble, they're gonna feel that feebleness too, man. It's gonna be in their bones. It's gonna be in their spirit, man. They're gonna be depressed. They're gonna be drinking themselves into a stupor. They're gonna be smoking all type of medication or drugs just to be able to, you know, get through the day. All right, they're gonna be heavily medicated, man. Just be numb and all that stuff. All right, so it's gonna be a painful experience, man. To see these soldiers being sent to their graves.
From dictatorship to democracy will take time, but it is worth every effort. Our coalition will stay until our work is done.
So what is the coalition doing now, man? What is NATO doing now? They've jumped ship. All right, they've jumped ship, and this coalition over there of those Gulf, Gulf states in Arabia, they can't stand. They cannot defend themselves against the barrage of attack, from Iran. So now they know that they're on their own now. All right. So another precept will be from the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 29 and verse 30. It says, "And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, Bashem Kakadash, shall be performed against Babylon." Okay, so saying every judgment that the Lord has organized to take place against America is going to happen. All right, doesn't matter how many times a day these people fast, how many revival ceremonies they want to have on all these prayers. It's not going to change the Most High's mind, to eradicate America from off the face of the earth, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitants. Yeah, so this total condemnation of America is just the heavy-handed response from the Lord. The Lord has to hold America accountable, for the atrocities against His holy name, against His chosen people, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, and so-called Native Americans. Yeah, and it's only a matter of time that they're gonna really realize that the Most High has really condemned this place. Jeremiah 51:30, "The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might had failed." All right, so they don't have the fighting prowess like they used to, because the Most High is going to take away that spirit of camaraderie, that spirit of valor. The Lord has to pull it back, because the Most High that gives that vibe, that vibration of courage, comes from the Lord. So when the Most High pulls that vibration away, that's it. All right. They became, as women, they became emotional. They start gonna have mutiny. All these officers in the military is gonna be blasted. Gonna have soldiers attacking each other. Units going against each other because they're not feeling, they're not feeling the mission anymore like they used to. They're gonna be out there by themselves, man. And when the sabotage just keeps becoming a frequent occurrence, that's it. Once the supply line is messed up, there's nothing they can do about it, man. They'll just have to surrender. Surrender, surrender, surrender. And that's another form of humiliating defeat, you know. So it says, they have burned her dwelling places, her bars are broken. Okay, so America's defense system is not going to be able to withstand the Most High's wrath. Okay, the wrath that the Lord has pointed out to be carried out against her. These nuclear missiles are no joke, man. These ICBMs, these intercontinental ballistic missiles, that's a horrible way, man, to be condemned by the Lord. Right? So, final precept will be from the book of Job, chapter 20. And 24. He shall flee from the iron weapon, and the bow of steel shall strike him. True. Yep. So all these mission accomplished photo ops and all that stuff, it's not going to bring any closure to this battle anymore, man, because it's over. Those years, the decades of America's glory, it's already faded. So all the same people smiling now, in this picture, are they smiling now? In reality, they've all basically retired, moved on and all that stuff. What do they have to say? They'll need to have like a so-called response. Those that were there that day, are they going to support this war? Yeah, so it's gonna be terrible, for the younger generation of soldiers that got exposed to the truth and cannot deal with the falsehoods anymore, man. Now, verse 26, Job 24:20, actually, verse 25. It is drawn and cometh out of the body, yea, the glittering sword cometh out of his gall. Terrors are upon him. Alright, so when those nuclear missiles start getting launched, comes out of the silo or the launching pad, that's it, man. It's gonna make a lot of soldiers be afraid. Even the population surrounding these military establishments, their bases and the positions, they're going to feel the pain and the wrath. The Lord, man, that exposure and explosion is going to be horrible for them, So it's just how it is, man. The terrors of the Lord, man, is going to make all these so-called generals and admirals, give up the ghost, man. Your politicians will be so stressed out and upset and miserable, all right? So it's just the way the Lord has decided that this thing shall happen, So that's a lesson for now, man. Of Aratazar, we keep up with his prophecies. Shalom.